In 1690, in what is now in the Americas, there were criminal court cases involving child abuse. In 1692, states and municipalities identified care for abused and neglected children as the responsibility of social government and private institutions. In 1696, the Kingdom of England first used the legal principle of parents' patrie, which gave the royal crown care for charities, infants, idiots, and lunatics returned to its chain of creed. This principle of parents' patrie has been identified as statutory basis for U.S. governmental intervention in families' child-rearing practices. In 1825, states enacted laws giving social welfare agencies the right to remove neglected children from their parents and from the streets. These children were placed in almshouses and orphanages and with other families. In 1835, a humane society founded a National Federation of Child Rescue Agencies to investigate child maltreatment. In the late 19th century, the private child protection agencies, modeled after existing animal protection organizations, developed to investigate reports of child maltreatment, present cases in court, and advocate for child welfare legislations. In 1853, the Children's Aid Society was founded in the response of the problem of orphaned and abandoned children living in New York City. Rather than allow these children to become institutionalized or continue to live on the streets, the children were placed in the first foster homes, typically with the intention of helping these families work their farms as family labor. In 1874, the first case of child abuse was criminally prosecuted in what has come to be known as the case of Mary Allen. Outrage over this case started an organized effort against child maltreatment in 1909. President Theodore Roosevelt convened the White House Conference on Child Dependency, which created a publicly funded volunteer organization to establish and publicize standards of child care. By 1926, so hard to read. 18 states had some versions of county child welfare boards whose purpose has to coordinate public and private child-related work. Issues of abuse and neglect were addressed in the Social Security Act in 1930, which provided funding for intervention for neglected and dependent children in danger of becoming delinquent. In 1912, the Federal Children's Bureau was established in the mandate that includes services related to child maltreatment. In 1958, amendments of the Social Security Act mandated the states fund child protection efforts. In 1962, professional and media interest in child maltreatment was sparked by the public of C. Henry Kempe and Associates, The Battered Child Syndrome, in the JEMA. By the mid-1960s, in response to public concern that rescued from this article, 49 U.S. states passed child abuse reporting laws. In 1974, these efforts by the states culminated in the passage of the Federal Child Abuse Cessation and Treatment Act, providing federal funding for a wide-range federal and state child maltreatment research and services in 1980. Congress passed the first comprehensive Federal Child Protective Service Act and the Adoption Assistance and Child Welfare Act of 1980, which focused on the family preservation efforts to help keep families together and children out of foster care or out of home placement options. Partly funded by the federal government, Child Protective Services (CPS) agencies were first established in response in the 1974 CAPTA, which mandated that all states establish producers to investigate suspected incidents of child maltreatment. In 1973, Congress took the first steps forward enacting the federal legislature to address the issues of poverty and minorities. The CAPTA has passed in 1974, which required states to prevent identity and child treatment, abuse, and neglect. Shortly thereafter, in 1978, the Indian Child Welfare Act, ICWA, was passed in response to attempts to disrupt the American families by taking large numbers of Native American children, separating them from their tribes, and placing them into foster care and sending them to faraway schools where many were maltreated, lost, and some died. This legislation not only opened the door for consideration of cultural issues, while stressing the ideas that children should be with their families, leading to the beginnings of family preservation programs in 1980. The Adoption Assistances and Child Welfare Act was introduced as a way to manage the high numbers of children in placement. Although the legislation addressed some of the complaints from earlier pieces of legislation around the omission of due process for parents, these changes were not designed to elevate the high numbers of children in placement to continuing delays in permanence. It led to the introduction of moment visitation models, which provided funding private agencies to provide parents with advanced services as alternative option. In addition to the services, the focus of federal child welfare policies changed to try to address the permanence of large numbers of the foster care children that has been made. Several pieces of the federal legislation attempted to ease the process of adoption and taking away parental rights, including some incentives for adoption for removal of the Adoption Assistance Act, the 1988 Child Abuse Prevention, Adoption and Family Service Act, and the 1992 Child Abuse, Domestic Violence, Adoption Act, Service Family Act, the 1994 Multi-Ethnic Placement Act, which was revised in 1996, to the added inherited placement provisions, also attempt to promote permanency through adoption, creating regulations that adoption could not be delayed or denied due to issues of parental rights. The children's rights to discrimination, race, color, or national origin of the child or the adopted parent. All of these policies led up to 1997 Adoption and Safe Families Act, ASFA, much of which guides current practices. Changes in the Adoption and Safe Family Act shifted in the emphasis towards children's health and sent concerns away from the policy of reuniting children with the birth families without regard to prior abusiveness. This law requires to counsel that provides reasonable efforts to preserve or reunify families, but required that states move to terminate parental rights for children who have been in the foster care for 15 out of 22 months, with several exceptions.
Okay.
Now, I know what you're all thinking. Why in the God's name have you actually put the history of CPS in the middle of a video about talking about CREEPTOBER, of all things? Well, we are talking about three characters that actually have discussions of child abuse in their own livelihood. This time, though, it is actually very different, and it's actually really, really important to discuss about on how we treat certain topics lightly or heavily. You see, in the very masses of media here, a lot of people interpret many child abuses as bad, as it should be. Sometimes that some of the victims don't really see that. They just think it's like a normal thing that people do. Sometimes, though, that they do see it, and it does give immense of trouble here. Or sometimes they repeat the cycle, and that literally comes down to it. Like, take fucking BoJack Horseman, for example. He took, like, emotional and verbal abuse against his own people because his family treated him like shit at the time, using those mentalities against him. So that's that. Or with Moral Oral, he actually changes at the time, and Moral Oral is now Moral Oral. But imagine fucking that, you know? However, in Creepypasta fandom, there's like a shit ton of like abuses that all of these characters went through, and I gotta say, it's pretty bad. And we're gonna check out the last ones that actually dealt with like abandonment issues, so be prepared for that. But we're gonna talk about a very serious topic that involves about kids being taken advantage of. You see, when these characters are being talked about, you see them being physically abused, verbally abused, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. So like in anything cases, you're prepared for what's to come. But what people don't realize is that there is a certain topic that is discussed in the community that there's a reason why the community is a bit soft, or that some don't even care, and there should be a bit of ethics or morality of the fandom. My opinion is, on that whole stance, is that, yeah, there should be a certain line that you should not cross, and some of their own creators have crossed the line pretty much so here. And I'm gonna discuss them my own way here and have my thoughts on this. Because thoughts are thoughts. And I'm gonna fucking shit on these creators no matter what. Because this is the time where I shit on fucking creators on the middle of Christmas Eve. So that is gonna happen. So buckle up, sit tight, and the first one is a special one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to childhood trauma. Alright, after a couple of welts and blistering lips later, I decided to come back here. Guys, I'm sorry. It took a minute. Anyways, into our first story here, we're gonna talk about a character that has been popular back in the 2012 days of the internet. And this will be kind of different. Maybe it is different reasons, I just don't know yet. However, I know for a fact that we're going to have some conversations about this. And we're gonna do it right now. So if you guys ready for some childhood trauma here and experience some fucked up shit, maybe it's not the best to watch this video at all and just get some therapy here, okay? I really recommend you do so. After all, no one wants to stay in their bubbles all the time, and no one should actually try to fester their emotions very significantly. So I recommend you go to a therapist and talk with someone about it. Maybe your friends and family. And, you know, come back here if you're ready or not, because at the end of the day, this is gonna get really weird. And really fucked up. So, have a great Christmas, everyone! Anyways, the story begins in the 1940s, or 50s, whatever you like to say, where a small house that lived run through the neighborhoods of the white picket fences of a country of America. Here, we got our first character to look. Her name was Sally Williams.
Hold up. I beg your pardon.
Yes, we are talking about Sally Williams. Again, you know the name of this fucking episode is called Children of the Night.
There's no way out of this one.
We are not surprised what this actually means, alright? So, Sally Williams is an 8-year-old girl that lived with her mother and father. She was just like any other girl that you know of. Playing with dresses, playing with dolls, wearing pink all the time. You get the idea. She's just like any other kid out there that loves to play whatever they like, you know? That's just very wholesome stuff here, okay? Until one day, when she was playing with her friends and her dolls, they had a visitor. And that was Uncle Johnny. Sally greeted with open arms and so forth, and Johnny had smiled at her and was going back into the house with her. The mother and the father were actually excited to meet him, so was Sally, and they were having conversations that it was good to see him again and seeing how like his wife was doing. He did say that his wife had left him and it was pretty sad, but he didn't really bother it, so they went out for a couple of lunches and they had a good time together. That's what they said. So the family comes to the dinner table, they were eating their food, and the rest of the day seemed pretty unusual. Until one night, something happened, where Sally was about to hit the hay, and Uncle Johnny wants to help her with that. Got her into her pajamas, and was about to tuck her into bed. You see, the mother was about to put her into bed as well, but Johnny says that he'll do it himself until he unlocks the door inside the room, and if you know about the story, you probably knew already that Sally was assaulted by Uncle Johnny. We will talk about this issue later after we tell the story here, but I do want to say that Sally did not deserve what she got, alright? She didn't deserve to get hurt like that. So, I'll talk about that later, but again, it's just fucking sad. And for the past couple of weeks, she wasn't acting her usual self because of what happened. Her mother did come to comfort her, but she did not know what Sally was trying to say. She thought that Sally had a nightmare, but in reality, she was telling her mother that she did not want to play his game, saying that he touched her and she was made to touch him, but she didn't want to. The mother thought, and the father also thought, she was having a dream. But as a viewer, we all know that that wasn't the case. So that's ended up what happened. And when Johnny heard their conversation about this, he was pissed off that Sally was trying to tell her parents that she was assaulted by him. So he had to make up a plan to deal with the situation. And he actually tries to tell the wife, the mother, that he was going to get something at the store. And that she requested to get some few things here and there and Johnny had to announce to say that Sally was gonna come with him. Sally was gonna come with them, in this case here. And the mother did agree to this, and Johnny was calling Sally out to get in the car. And, well, Sally was a bit worried of where this was going, and so was the viewer who was reading the story. It's us, by the way. And when they went into the car, Sally was just seeing through the window, and it turns out something was wrong. He didn't stop to the store. Instead, he kept going, and then go to a park that was not really been used lately. It's been empty. So, basically that Sally and him were alone, and when he sought the car, he gave Sally a look that was such disdain and malice that Sally was now scared out of her mind. She wants to get out of the car now. And Johnny explained to her, "You weren't playing the game right, Sally. Now you have to punish." And sooner or later, Sally was missing after that, and have actually been found a couple hours later by the police for a search party. And that is where Sally's story ended there. It's a very short story, but it's actually, popular for many reasons, because Sally was just a ghost kid, alright? She became a ghost after that and haunts the house of her old home, where people would, probably go in there sometimes to do something stupid. But this kid literally is just a kid. That was literally what happened. She did not deserve what happened to her, okay? And I already know many stories that have been told from many victims that have been gone through sexual abuse. And sometimes that it could have effects of being victim blamed or never been believed at all, or that the perpetrator gets away with it. And with this story, that's clearly what I see from this entire thing here. Is it a good story? Well, I say I don't know how to criticize a story like this when this usually happens to a lot of people all the time. You don't hear these stories because some of them are dead because of this, by the way. So I kind of wish that Johnny would have been put to jail or gotten beaten down by someone that fucking found him doing this shit, but that's just fucking me being a petty ass bitch, or I don't know, literally having a fucking heart on the internet. Sometimes this shit literally happens in real life. People just don't see it, but it does happen a lot. The people that you trust will turn out to be the worst person you ever seen. That actually happens to many YouTubers that have been outed as predators here, okay? You never really think about the fact that your content creator that you love the most turns out to be a predator of all things.
Absolutely disgusting, by the way. I almost puked, but let me stay focused.
That it happens a lot. You don't expect this to happen, but it does. And with this story, it kind of paints like that a little bit. I know it's not real and that this is just fiction, but it does convey a bit of reality when it comes to sexual assault and rape, especially to some who are children that have been involved getting assaulted and raped. So this story is not so bad at the end of the day, alright? Sometimes that, though, I will just say that, it's not that bad. I'm not going to give any criticism for that. It's just a story. And that is all we need to know. However, I want to make my own opinion made clear here as to why there's a reason why I did not like Offender Man to be part of the Creeptober team, because of Sally.
Basically, she was the prostitute all along. Dickbags.
Offender Man is called Offender Man, alright? Let's all be honest here. And Sally was raped by her uncle.
You would think that common sense translates to every human being. You would think!
I think I made this very clear in that last episode, the first ever episode, but I don't think everyone had actually seen how I conveyed that story here, alright? And this is why I think that people made Slenderman to be like a father figure to some of the creepypastas here. Because they have been abused at one point and have been neglected at one point, and with Sally, it's no exceptions here, alright?
So there you go. I said what I said, and I meant what I said because I said what I said.
So with that on the mind here, yeah, I do think that Sally was the reason why that people did so. And I'm not gonna complain. At the end of the day, though, she was killed by her uncle after trying to tell her family what happened to her. So it's basically better if Slenderman was actually a dad. I mean, I see him as a dad. I mean, come on, look at that fucking suit. Alright, seriously. But at the end of the day, come on, guys. Could you really blame the fandom for this? Like, come on, look at Sally. Look at her. Just look at her. Alright?
Makes sense, don't it? Makes sense, don't it?
Come here, I fucking love you. I fucking love you.
She's a fucking adorable bean! She's just a cinnamon roll! Who would ever want to hurt her, man? Why would Uncle Johnny hurt this little bean? Why? Why would anyone try to do this to her? Why? Why does she deserve this? Well, fuck me, why do every kid deserve that? No kid fucking deserves that shit.
I didn't.
No one. Not even a single fucking dog deserves that shit, alright? Come on. Seriously, like, why would you even do this to a fucking kid? Why does it keep happening? Why do adults try to sex minors on the internet, and why do they want to fucking roleplay with them, for God's sakes? Hell, why do they even need nudes from them?
What does this mean?
Why? You don't need that! You need a bullet through your fucking head.
Hey, call the cops.
911.
Officer, right there. FBI, come on.
Alright? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Alright? This not... I could talk about that all the time here, but like, this is not the point. The point is that Sally was a victim of assault and abuse. Many of the other creepypasta characters have been dealt with abuse in their livelihood, and with Sally, she is no exception here. She was been killed by her uncle because she tried to tell her parents that she was molested by the same man that was trying to put her to bed. Alright? And that is something to take note here, that some kids did went through that shit. And I know some of y'all might have been through that beforehand, and that is a sad reality that we live in. And I hope that things would get better for the victims out there, and I hope that some of you all right now are gonna get the help you need. And that's need to be said. So, what is about Sally that... Is there any information about her? There's really not that much. She is still the same as she was when she was still alive. She was still joyous and sweet and playful in the ghost time she was. And she does scare and prank people, but like, it's just for fun. And that's really what happened, is that she literally is now a ghost. There's really nothing we can do about this, but at the end of the day, we can still give her goodies, you know, like fucking toys, candy, maybe even like, you know, blankets and shit. Honestly, I would give her like a chocolate bar, like a half a chocolate bar. I would have probably given her that, so like she would not be that hungry as I am anymore. So yeah, there's really nothing much. I'm sorry. She was just a ghost girl that got killed by her uncle, and now she's just living in her old house, spooking people. That's how the story went. And then I believe that Slenderman got her and took her back home with him. That's like a sweet ending at the end of the day, you know? Probably killed Uncle Johnny afterwards. Like, for payback, bitch. I mean, that's clearly what happened here. I don't fucking know. Like, what do you want me to say? However, there's one thing I will say is that there's another version to Sally's story where, instead of being 8 years old, she actually was 12 years old in a different story that was been rebooted by the creator, Mish. And there is a reason why I think they did that, and we're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna fucking rant. Mish was the original creator of Sally Williams back in the day, and also rebooted the story of Play With Me at the time, basically making Sally, instead of being 8 years old, she was actually 12. And in the other story, I'm going to read it out to you. In 1966, which I really did say it was like 1940s or 50s, but it feels like Sally is in the 1940s and 50s. You cannot tell me she's not. Basically, the story does went off as that Sally did not tell her friends or her family that she was being abused by Uncle Johnny, and in 1970, she actually did confess to her friends at the moment, until on her 12th birthday, Uncle Johnny did kill her when he lied of her getting ice cream here. And basically that the kids told their mom that Sally was dead in some way, or being abused in some way. And they did put Johnny into court and filed him jail. So that was the entire story from that regards here. Now, do I think it's a good story?
I don't really care.
I would discredit this story because of one thing only that I have recently found out. You see, I'm not going to talk about the remake of the story or the creators itself here. I'm going to talk about why they are important. Because when you're talking about child abuse, you might probably have like a good incomes of what it's like and having sympathy for the child here that you are telling a story about, you know? But sometimes the person that writes the stories of child abuse, like sexual, physical, whatever the categories that can be that is inflicted on trauma for the child, that person who does that will be the same to also abusing other real kids in real life. We have seen this from Mondo Pony, where he got caught for sexting many minors in his time and was cheating on his wife with those minors exactly.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
And now he's gone forever. Basically never seen a day again here. And I say this because he made the song called Balloons, and that basically he was being sympathetic for the kids. But when we find out what happened, what he was doing behind closed doors, you get to see a picture very clear that it's a little bit darker in some way here. But that's also with Lamish and Mish, because they were also caught doing some terrible shit at the time. You see, the reason why I have to mention them right now is because there's a reason why that you can do whatever you want with Sally, as long as you're doing it safe, as long as you're not doing anything sexual or inappropriate with the character, you'll be fine. And Lamisha Mish broke that promise to their own fucking character. Because, my god, people are just fucking shit.
What, you fat, you ugly, and you stink?
Apparently there was news about Mishi doing NSFW content of Sally being shifted with not just Ben drowned, which he's 12, and with Sally, she is still 8 in my book. She was shifted by Jeff the Killer, and possibly even EJ for God's sakes, because Mishi had stated that she was 16 to basically make it her legal in her drawings.
Huh? Is this nigga serious?
Lord have mercy.
What? Oh no, see, that's what we not about to do. Police, lock his ass up. Yes, you need to be under the jail.
Look here, I'm not fucking stupid here, fellas, alright? You're not fucking stupid to know.
You're a victim.
That is drawn child exploitation materials here, alright? I don't care what anyone says here. I don't care if they say it's lolicon art or anything like that, or child pornography art. We all know that they were doing it, alright? And that's not fucking okay.
That's not canceled! That's the law!
It's fucking disgusting because it is basically trying to normalize the abuse and the sexualization of minors here, especially the Sally, since she is a fictional character. That doesn't change the fact that kids could be attached to her no matter what. Which is why I always say that it's very obvious that people do care about Sally, but they don't even know what the creator did to them. Some people do know, because at the time, they were fucking adults, and we were kids. I did not know this shit until now, so therefore I'm gonna tell you all this right now. Fuck the creator.
Fuck you. That's simple. That easy.
We're gonna have Sally into her own hands here, and she needs to be protected from this at all costs here. There's a reason why that the CBS history report was in the fucking video to begin with here, because I wanna call CBS on this fucking bitch.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't gon' nah.
Now, I will say this, CBS ain't shit, and it's just basically trying to level one up here, but come on.
No ma'am. No ma'am.
Come on. What the fuck are you drawing NSFW porn of your fucking character that is a child?
Why? Why, oh God, fucking why?
Why? Even aging them up to 16, that's still illegal in the United States of America here. You cannot tell me otherwise. You cannot convince me on this bullshit here. No one can. Not even a single fucking cat can do that. Not even a crow. Rock, you not even think about a fucking pet rock that will convince me otherwise. Alright? You just can't.
You're done.
And just because that Mishi doesn't draw NSFW anymore, that doesn't change the fact that what they did was stupid, alright? But also, they were the ones that have been defended by castaways.
Well,
So I'm not fucking surprised that they were on this here, alright? And there's a reason why that people just don't like canon stuff at times, because if one thing goes in the other, it happens sometimes. This sometimes it happens with like mouthwashing here, that they want to make Carly to Uno reverse on Jimmy because they found out that Jimmy did terrible things to Anya here, and it's justifiable here. It's kind of funny, but it's reasonably justifiable because the ending fucking sucks ass. It's not canon. The real canon thing here is to kill Jimmy. By Swansea or Sidescape of all things. I want those two to fucking beat the shit out of Jimmy here, right? That would be canon, and that would be a good ending here. For Sally, that's the same fucking thing. She is still 8, she is still a child, and therefore, fuck you, Mishi. I'm gonna keep her, I'm gonna protect her away from you, alright? Fuck you. So, that's all I had to say from here. And I know what you're all thinking. Do you think that kids are going to be affected by that in the time stake here? When I was a kid, I was never affected what was going on in the community here. I was watching videos of creepypasta videos, and that was that. Nothing more, nothing else. But I know there's some kids out there that were in that rabbit hole, and I'm very sorry that you know this information here at the time. But don't worry, because now the creator is probably gone. They're probably never existed anymore. They're probably dead. And I would be very glad that they're dead, alright? The same with J.K. Rowling. I would be fucking happy if that bitch was dead and that we as a community can steal the fucking Harry Potter franchise to our own hands here, like we did with the creepypasta characters here. And it's going to be very relevant to another character that's going to be talked about. And don't worry, we will talk about them sooner or later. Alright? Just be patient, alright? Just be patient. But that's all I gotta say from there. It's really gross, it's really nasty, and it really sucks that Sally has a shitty creator here. Like, she got abused and killed by her uncle, and she's being treated like shit by her creator, so therefore, fuck you. You know, I'm gonna steal Sally away from this creator here. And everyone else did. I have seen recent fan art of Sally with the other creepypastas here, and that's not a bad thing. People just don't know Leash Mishi anymore. They just think like, well, she is part of the community still, whether you like it or not. And no one cares. No one gives a shit about Mishi. And that should stay that way for the rest of our lives here. And that will also continue with the next characters I'm going to set up with. I Eat Pasta for Breakfast was originated by Chibiworks, aka Toby. This was an original comic that was made by them back in the days of 2014 when creepypastas were still booming at the storm here. Basically, the story goes of a little girl named Lazari Swan that has saw her mother been killed by the rope, basically committed suicide, and has been founded by Slenderman and been taken care to the mansion where other creepypastas were survived here. Jeff, EJ, Toby, Hoodie, and Masky, and obviously Lulu. Now, Lulu is an original character made by HB Works. So was Lazari and many other characters to go by of. And in this story where her own father is looking to find her, and while Slenderman is prepared for the worst to come if that stuff happens here. Now, that's a short summary of it here.
Alright, so y'all just seen that corny ass shit.
The story plotline is very conjoined and confusing in itself here, and the character designs are a little bit shit when you see some of them here. Like, we've seen the original characters like Jeff, EJ, and Ben. With Lulu, I can see it's a very simple design, but it does fit well here, you know what I mean? With Lazari, it does fit also well with the juxtapose of it, you know what I mean? But there is some that are a little bit conjoined and a little bit confusing to say the least here, because it seems to make like this is like OC filled more than anything here, and that, well, basically that it does make no sense here why there's so many characters in one place here, for fuck's sake. But I will admit here, it was not the best read, but it was nostalgic purpose here. Now, I want to talk about this importantly because this is how you handle sexual abuse a bit poorly here, because I want to talk about the character Lazari Swan here, because this character is my favorite, alright?
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
She's a cute. She's adorable. Look at her. Look at the little bones of sunshine. Even if she might be an asshole here in the comic here, I still don't care. She's a sweetheart. Alright? I would give her a cookie. I would give her some toys. I would make her the happiest child in the world. I'll make her the happiest little baby. You little cute little girl, sunshine. What was I talking about? Oh, right. About Lazari, there has been a few informations about her that are quite disturbing to say the least here, but we're going to talk about how she ended up being part of the gang here, basically. Remember when I say that her mother was hanged? Well, it turns out that she had a curse that was related to infertility here. I mean, the story does not know what it was a curse about, but it probably was infertility. I said it, fuck you. And an unknown demon have actually spawned into the world to give this mother a wish to fulfill to give her a baby. And the baby was Lazari Swan here. And you may ask the question, who is this demon that we'd be talking about? Well, I haven't spoke about him because I did wish I wanted to do that in the first ever episode of CREEPTOBER, but I'll give you a short summary of who he is.
He is coming. He who waits behind the wall. He who waits to end it all. All that you know, all that you are, he will tear it from you and leave you afar. He will carve on the pieces of your soul. He will take the whole world and make it under whole. He comes.
That poetry was known to be called Zalgo. This character is the rival against Slenderman of all things, the corruption of all livelihoods, the demon of mayhem and malevolent of entity here. This creature is known to be a very famous creepypasta for a while now, and also been a fan's favorite. Now, I gotta say here is that he do be looking fine. And I'm saying like, oh, this is like fine design here. No, it's like fine. Like he's really
What did I just...
He's he got that ass.
You need to shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry, but I gotta say it, alright? Come on. Who the fuck would not want to fuck a demon like that? I mean, come on, man. Not unless how you write Zalgo here. As long as you make it fine, as long as you make Zalgo a little bit more presentable, I think it would have been fine here. Mine's a little bit rage-inducing here. I say rage-inducing as in he's full of rage. Like me. I am full of rage. But that's not the point. The point is, the reason why I mentioned Zalgo is because he is the father of Lazari Swan here. And in this story, it is mentioned that he actually given birth to Lazari with this woman that has committed suicide because this one belongs in a cult. And this cult had tortured Lazari for God knows how long and has stripped her from her dignity, her anatomy, and all sorts of things that it labels to be how cults do. And for that moment, Lazari was taken by the force to see her mother die by hanging by her own hands. And that's where Lazari lost her mother there. Basically, the mother was an asshole. That's what happened here.
This nigga is trash.
Now, is there any mentions talking about this whole cult thing? Not that much. The creator didn't really give us jack shit of how it really went through, because there were some few images here and there, but it seems like it's for the sake of being a bit edgy. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Being tortured and being, like, isolated and detrimented to the very point of being, like, fucking destroyed from the very within here is not, like, an edgy thing here. That's just fucking tragic on your end here.
The fuck are you talking about?
That is fucking dark. That is fucking sad.
Why do we eat?
I don't care what anyone says here. I don't care if this sounds so fucking extremely edgy here.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Because in this world, there's a ton of people out there torturing fucking adults out there. Let alone fucking kids. So therefore, I will say, that's just fucking sad. And I really wish that Sally would have the best time of her life playing in an amusement park. Alright? That's all I got is from there. And also go to Funland. Alright? Funland is great. Great, guys. Great. Anyways, the whole thing is like, it's an appalling mess here. And also, I have to talk about this quickly because I want to say this right now. Jimmy Works did the same thing with like how Mishi did, but except it's a very odd way that they do it. You see, they actually tried to give like a plot where there was a comic dub for this thing, by the way, and it was from Patrol Productions. They deleted the whole fucking videos because of the harassments they got from, like, the channel not giving more IE Pause for breakfast because it was so fucking popular at the time, and you have no idea how bad it was. So, they deleted all of it. Luckily, there's a whole movie that's set for, like, a video of it, but I'm not gonna fucking watch the whole thing. I'm not gonna fucking do that. Unless they have time skips in there, I'll probably go check it myself here, but the truth is that I'm not doing all of that. I will say that in the recent parts of the Pasta for Breakfast dub, it turns out that there was a sudden change in Lazari's body. Turns out that she just hit puberty real quick. And I gotta say, puberty is like a thing that girls go through. Like, they do, like, drastically change when they hit puberty. So, sometimes it could be young as 8 years old.
How? Hold on, bro. How?
So I will say it's really what it goes down here to, you know what I mean? But the fact is that she literally drastically changed to having a 13-year-old body in an 8-year-old's mind here. So when Eyeless Jack, one of the characters of the comic by the way, actually came back from his mission and...
Hey guys, I'm back.
Jack? Hey!
Fuck no!
immediately catches feelings for her. What?
Whoa, 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 hey, hey!
No! Dear God, this is gonna be explaining to you. Listen, in a lot of stories here, there's a lot of problematic relationships that happen here a lot. And when it comes to like kids having a crush on an adult, the adult has the responsibility to discredit them and disqualify them. That's what you should be able to do here, alright? You cannot do what Chibi Works was gonna do in this fucking comic. So with this in mind, it's a bit fucking creepy. But there is more other things we can talk about right now. And I'm actually going to talk about another story that involves another character that I also mentioned in this comic. And this one's going to be a doozy, so sit back with me.
Lucille Tiffany Greatfield lived with both her mother and father, who loved her very dearly. She was cherished more by her mother, though, than her father. However, one day her mother got very sick and was bedridden for a while. But even after that stuff happened, her mother tried her best to be with Lucy as much as she can, saying she'll get better and back on her feet. But her feet carried away to somewhere else, where Lucy wouldn't see her again. For a while, Lucy was a shut-in after her mother's death and started reading many stories to occupy herself. Sooner or later, her father grew worried as he wanted her to be sent to a private school where she'll make new friends and do activities. But what he doesn't know, this will be the last time she'll ever come back. The school was unkind and unforgivable to Lucy, as the girls of the school pecked her as a toy to ruin, beating her down and making her sit in humiliation and shame, until cutting her memories away as well. It was to the point she hid away and kept speaking of her stories in repeat just to set her at ease, only to be called Lulu as retaliation of her absence from these demons of the school. And things were gotten worse and worse, and when it went too far, the teacher sent the girls to suspension for days, as Lucy was resting away, being comfortable and safe for a last time. Only for the bullies to come back, an unrelated obsession and craze, to break our dearest friend Lucy. Drugged her and what happened was she was sexually violated. Just simply that. No sugarcoating, no bullshit. Just that they assaulted her somewhere as she ran away to escape hell. Only for somebody to help her, and that just took her eyes and the ability to grow old. She was doomed until some people picked her up to take her.
And that's where the story of Lulu ends there. It's a very sad story indeed when you look at it from first glance, but I have some opinions to talk about. So, In this story, I did say that again, there's a lot of issues with it at the time, and I'm gonna explain this right now. For one, I don't know how the fuck those girls actually caught Lulu being drugged and assaulted like that. That takes, like, security cameras to find that shit and put them in, like, expulsion right there and there. But some reason they never have that, and I may be stupid, but if they didn't have cameras at the time here, then that school is a fucking shit place to begin with. Let me just tell you that right now, alright? But also, why? That's why!
Why?
I get it's supposed to be very sad and that she was assaulted, but, like, that's just, like, with Lulu...
It's Lazari, jackass.
She was sexually tortured by her mother and the cult that she was with. I don't think it was Elgo's cult. It could be somebody else's cult that he found out who was in. But, like, how? Did you make another sexual abuse story that just seems, like, just blatant there? Like, it's just there now and it's just gone with the wind. The fuck?
I thought you ate that.
Why the fuck would you do that? Well, why is it even supposed to be a thing? I don't get it. It's just weird. It's just weird to me. And there's no way that Lulu got out of there scot-free. Like, they probably just let her go at some point. Or that the teachers found out and they tried to help her until, like, she actually did bail out in that school here. Because at that point, those students would have been fucking shut it down or been arrested for that matter. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they just got scot-free out of there and that's just, like, fucked up to think about. But there's no explanation of what happened. There's nothing that they explained about in there. Just like with how mother's infertility did not have been explained or anything like that. So it's like, what the fuck are we supposed to think about this? And secondly, do you want to know at the end who was the one that stole her eyes? It was Zelda. In the original story, he took away Lucy's eye, and afterwards, though, she was just left there alone, dead in the site here. I don't know how. However, there has been information about the creator that we'll talk about sooner or later, but I don't want to explain it right now because it's going to be one sooner or later. But I want to tell you this right now. He took her ability to grow up. You see, she is 15 years old, but she's actually 25 and mentally aged here. Do you remember when I say that, like, just because that, you know, you try to age them up, saying, like, they're mentally 25, that doesn't make an excuse to, you know, make sexual materials off of them like that?
This game, shut. You ain't in court. Shut your damn mouth.
Just because that you say Lulu is
45 years old, mentally,
doesn't mean fucking shit to me.
You weird, buddy.
Alright? And if you say otherwise...
Shut that shit down! Shut it all the way down!
You are part of the problem. That's the thing. You're kind of part of the problem here, and I don't want you to think that way anymore here, right? Send yourself to hell. Get the hell away.
Get the hell out.
Okay? This is no need to make excuses after excuses, alright? We are not that kind of people here. Because if there's people out there who are making excuses for people like Toby, I will send your ass to fucking hell. Not really, though. I will fucking slap you in the face, though, for being that fucking dumb, alright?
I'm sick of it. I am
So, enough of that. You see, the problem here is that in this comic, so many stories on this whole entire thing here that, like, it explains itself in sexual abuse in a not-so-great manner here. But the fact is, like, it's just there. Like, there's no aftermath of what happened. There is no way that, like, there's any other details that has been explained here. It's just like, oh, they've been sexually tortured and now they're here. It's like, where's the line here? What do they do to the perpetrator? What exactly can they do to stop the perpetrator? Because if Lulu would have killed the fucking bullies, I want to see if she did kill the fucking bullies afterwards. Because they probably fucking deserve it afterwards. I want Lazari to fucking eat her mother's heads out for fucking tearing the bottles up her fucking back. Huh? Where's that shit? It's not there because, oh, they ran away. Oh, their mother committed suicide. That's not satisfaction there, okay? I want to fucking kill Jimmy for mouthwashing, but you don't see people say anything about that because they want him to take actual responsibility. He doesn't take responsibility. He's a fucking coward, alright? So send him to the fucking gun. Send him to the fucking punches here, motherfucker. Do not think that what I say here is dumb. It's not. And you think it is, burn in hell.
Shut your fucking mouth! No problem, John. Shut the fuck up, you scary! Shiver my timbers! Shut up, man!
Just don't talk to me, okay? Just don't.
Everybody has pissed me off. I'm going back to sleep. Don't text my phone. Don't call me. I'm over it.
Anyways, now I want to talk about something important here as well. Do you remember the time when I say that they did itch her up and that there was sexualization of Lazari and Lulu a little bit in the story of I Eat Pasta for Breakfast? Well, you're gonna see something very upsetting that I'm gonna talk about. So, content warning, we're gonna be discussing about rape, non-consensual activities, and NSFW. So, yeah, it's one of these times here. I know we're talking dark shit here, but like, this is important, and we're gonna talk about it fucking now.
I hate it so much. I hate it.
If you really don't know about the whole ordeal here is that Toby was making NSFW stuff on Tumblr at the time, and when Tumblr didn't ban all the porn stuff out there, it was noted that Toby was doing some rape arts between her characters and the ones that are in Creeptopastas. Basically with Lazari and Eyeless Jack when she was 18. But I will say this right now. She was 18. If they say so, then she would have still been a child if she met Eyeless Jack still, who was probably also above the age of 18 here. So that is fucking gross, and that was really nasty. And also did sexualizations of a character as well with Lulu. Even though they say that she's 25 of mentally age here, she was still 15. So therefore, it's not an exemption here. This is not how it works here, alright? They're not a fucking dragon lolly here, alright? Like, fucking quit that shit, okay? And also was making rape content with Zelgo and Masky and other things like that. And also did mention and admitted that Lucy was raped by Zelgo.
What the hell is this?
So remember when I say that the mysterious guy took her eyes and ability to grow up? That was Zelgo. And not only that, but he assaulted her at the time.
God, I got you in 4K. Just dick ride.
So that's why some of the panels of the comic was fucking weird because, yeah.
I do this every time.
And also, there was like some points of the panels of the comic that Ben was trying to flirt with Lucy, even though that Ben is literally fucking 12 and that she's 15, which, come on guys, like, Ben is not that flirty. Ben is literally just a child. And so is Lulu, okay? Electric chair. Fucking stop. Why do we always fucking do this in the community here? This happens with like a lot of communities. Like Probably Playtime, people don't know if like Smiley Critters were all aged or like still kids. It turns out it was canon that these were all fucking kids, and everyone was doing some weird shit with them. I'm talking to fucking this parent here, alright? God's sake. But also, it's like, what the fuck?
What the fuck
are we even doing here? Like, what the fuck? Okay? Come on, people. Like, seriously. Come on. Like, if they're kids, they're kids. Don't make fucking NSFW a fucking kids here, okay? It's not okay. Alright? It normalizes sexual abuse and grooming stuff here, and I hate it so fucking much here. Like, come on. Have we not learned from our mistakes back in 2020? Have we not learned?
Did it. So, we didn't learn. Comprehension. We didn't learn.
Or are we all just fucking stupid here? Because I feel like I'm getting stupid here because y'all are just being fucking rabbits!
Puss ass, punk ass, sucker duck, lame ass,
horny ass, puny ass little shits, alright? Stop it!
You ain't gonna come on here and keep talking to me like I'm stupid.
Stop fucking with kids, okay? And kids, stop fucking around, okay? God damn. This is not the Wild West anymore. We gotta fucking fix our shit or otherwise Kosa will come our asses and fucking shoot us in the foot. God fuck's sake here, people. Anyways, as I was saying, yeah, Toby was doing some fucked up shit and they did admit it to it and they did apologize. But at the end of the day, I don't give a shit.
Edit here. I will say this shit was from 10 years ago, by the way, and they were 19 and 18 at the time. So that is something you should probably know now. But that still is not an excuse to doing the shit that you did, since you probably know better than doing what you did at that time, so
therefore, you are exempt from this community here by kind of me. I'm kidding. I know I'm not gonna be like the judge of like fandoms here and all that. I'm just saying that because Toby is not in the community anymore, alright? And that's probably the best out of all of this here. Like, I don't want them to be in this community anymore. Not even the other creators we'll mention in the future, or even here with like Mishi Mish, because they did admit to it. Some don't try to pretend that they didn't know, but they actually do know that stuff that they did was bad. So therefore, I'm gonna say this right now. Recreating is an option for these characters. In a world of creativity, in the world of artistry, of anything that it goes by on the internet, you can do whatever you want on there. Sometimes that when things are canon and that it's a bit sucky that it's there, sometimes people will take it and try to change it for the betterment of their own satisfaction and their own sake of understanding here. Sometimes that being canon is not so great because it doesn't have a good ending, or that the ending is not satisfactory to people's eyes that wants to feed off of something more better. With a lot of stories that have coming out recently, some people will give AUs where some people deserve a better treatment, and some that want to have a better life for these characters. For Sally, Lazari, and Lulu, these three deserved better creators and deserved better care for their stories here. As much as Sally's story was not so bad here, unfortunately her creator was not the greatest person that did well with her time as well, because obviously fuck her anyways. But at the end of the day, there are sometimes that we can change it for the betterment for these characters. And I do think that having empathy and having kindness for these characters and giving them love and care that they deserve is better than to give nothing at all. And that is a testament to society here, where that we have to give some characters a better treatment than people did to them in the past. And that's all I have to say from there. But a good lesson here is that heavy topics deserved a very serious note and to be treated with respect and care that it deserves. Alright? Many other shows and movies have actually done this beforehand, and I do think that there should be a way to understand that in some times here, okay? There's a lot of people out there that really need better representation of their stories than some people would give them out to be. And that is something to be told a lot more than usual. And that's what really is all about. Sorry that this got a little bit dark than usual. However, this is not going to be the end of the tunnel here, since just because the creators had did something bad, that doesn't mean that they should have their characters to begin with at all anymore. Alright? We have the choice to have Lazari and Lulu and Sally to give better treatment than these people can. Alright? Just do it for Zeka in the 1995 here. Alright? This is what that quote goes here, but I don't fucking know. But we gotta be better than those guys, alright? That's all I gotta say from here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Chonos with CREEPTOBER series here. Keep it sticky, stay creepy. Thanks for watching. Peace!